So there is one power, one light, one life. It is moving in, as, and through everything that is, including us. It holds this space in its awareness, in its knowingness, in its fullness, as we come together to know something better about ourselves, to know something better about life, and to find a deeper sense of truth and meaning in our worlds. Knowing that that's so, I can release this, I'll let it be, and so it is. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. I'm glad you're here. If you are looking for a place where you are appreciated, you're looking for a place where you're loved, you're looking for a place where you're accepted just as you are. You don't have to create any kind of special aura or dress a certain way or any sort of thing like that in order to be present and to be appreciated and to be loved. This is us. We are a community of like-minded people, like-minded in the sense that we see God in everyone. We see the power of life in everyone, and so we are welcoming and seeing you in that way. So wherever you come from, whatever your background, whatever you bring with you when you walk in the room, we love and appreciate you as well. Wherever you go from here, you may go to a whole other place or another way of being or another way of world. We love and appreciate that as well. If the universe all looked like me and all thought like me, it would be a very boring place and a bit chaotic. So I encourage, so we're not about sameness. We're about the idea that oneness equals individuality and fully expressed as such. So welcome. If you're here for the first time, we give you a very special welcome and ask you to be sure and say hello on the way out if you still want to talk to us. And if not, okay, we love you, we bless you. However this works for you, that's the idea here. We are a place that teaches truth. We teach the truth based on New Thought teachings, based specifically on the work of Dr. Ernest Holmes, as well as others of that genre or that generation. And each week we talk about what we believe. So I invite you to pull out your program and join me as we read together our Declaration of Principles. I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. And so it is. Thank you. So each week we have one of our spiritual mind practitioners, one of our people who has been trained in this teaching and trained and licensed to actually work with other people in helping you achieve your goals, your desires, your healing, to come and share with us and to lead us then in our morning treatment, spiritual mind treatment, or affirmative prayer. And so today I am very honored to introduce one of our long-standing and solid, on-the-ground, principle-centered people. If you want to know about how to manifest prosperity, this is your lady. If you want to know how to manifest good living, period, this is your lady. So I introduce to you and bring to you Tracy Smartsweet. Thank you. Thank you. Good. There we go.
It's green now.
It's on.
Green light. That's good.
And you need to speak right into it.
Good morning, everyone. Tracy Smartsweet, practitioner. Pull it down. Okay. Thank you. I'm getting help from the audience. It's been a while since I've been up here, so I'm a little nervous, and I am going to use my notes. So there's a couple things I wanted to go over or share with you, and I wanted to make sure I remembered everything. So 21 years ago this month, in June, I walked into the Spiritual Living Center, which was then called the Atlanta Church of Religious Science, right down the street, and have been here ever since. This teaching has and continues to change my life profoundly in amazing and good ways. And I'm deeply grateful that a friend brought me here to see those first Dr. Kennedy Schultz down the street 21 years ago. Can everyone hear me? Mm-hmm. Charlotte, you can hear me? Thank you. So I am so appreciative for Holmes, Bitts, Barker, Schultz, Gagne, and now Dr. Bob Deen for giving us a place here in Atlanta to come and to learn and to grow and practice these principles. So, excuse me, in celebration of this, I will share a reading from the Science of Mind book, which is our textbook. Most of you have seen this. It's a little big, but it's got awesome material in it. And also I will share with you a treatment that I wrote 21 years ago. It was my first treatment. And I used a fill-in worksheet that Dr. Kennedy Schultz, the founder of the Atlanta Church, as I mentioned, gave to this first class that I ever took 21 years ago. Like most people, I didn't show up because I was on like a big winning streak in life, right? I came here because the teaching or my life, there's a lot of things that I was unhappy about in my life, and I wanted to change that, and I really didn't know how. And a friend brought me here, and I learned, first of all, that principle is not bound on precedent. It's right here in Science of Mind, and it's so true. It's like what has been does not have to continue to be unless I want it to. I can change it. And my life continues that way, and I continue changing and growing, and I'm deeply grateful. So as I mentioned, the first treatment I created, I used a fill-in blank treatment, and anyone can do this. The sheet makes creating a treatment really simple, and I've left some copies. Yes, I did leave some copies with Barbara at the welcome table. So if you would like just a treatment sheet to help you to fill in, you can get one after the service. So the results of my first treatment was amazing. The treatment brought me a new job, which that subsequently increased my income by 7 times. So trust me, after that, I was really hooked. And so many other good things have happened. So before I read from the Science of Mind text and share this treatment on self-love with you, I've got a question for you to ask yourself if you would like to participate. So the question is, what am I holding at bay from myself that I say that I want? I'll repeat it. What am I holding at bay from myself that I say that I want? So whatever that answer is, and one has more than likely popped into your mind, take one of those sheets and fill it in for that. Repeat it with feeling for yourself until it manifests, and you're guided to something else or to next steps. So that's the sentence. Did everybody get that? Anybody want me to repeat it again? Okay. What am I holding at bay from myself that I say that I want? So I'm going to read from the Science of Mind text now, and it's on page 43, one of the first 4 chapters, which is the basics of the Science of Mind. Awesome. And do that reading, and then I'll go into the treatment on self-love. So the reading starts on top of page 43. Love rules through law. In an intelligent study of the teachings of the Science of Mind, we come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. Love is the divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. So the reading ends on page 43. And now if everyone would, if you'd like, close your eyes, just relax, take a few deep breaths, and take in this treatment, whatever works for you. This first treatment that I wrote 21 years ago. The name of the treatment is Ever Greater Love for Myself. God is the spirit of life, out of which all things are made, and all things, including myself, are made because God loves to create life in all sorts of ways and loves to succeed in living life in love through all things, through all people, and therefore within me and through me. I am very much aware of the power of love as always in me, always ready to act as me, and always ready to enter the world through me. Therefore, I know I have the power of love within me to totally love myself and forgive myself. Each day, I am living with increasing love for myself, and I know that the power of God as love cannot possibly fail me. My relationship with myself is this day reborn in love, peace, and forgiveness. I go out into the world this day, loving myself and others unconditionally. I know I can love myself and others unconditionally because that is how God loves me. I now see things through my eyes with love. Because I now love myself unconditionally, I am able to speak with love, act with love, and react with love. I am neither surprised nor disturbed by any doubts or fears that may arise as I affirm the truth about the healing power of love at work in my life. All doubts and fears are old habits of thought and are now falling away from me. I let them go with ease and gratitude as I continue to affirm what must be and is the truth about the love I have for myself. God as love in me is, must, and always will be greater than any tendency to contradict it. Love is the only real power there is. I know this, and it is working within me now. With great joy and gratitude, I now celebrate the growing love I have for myself and the courage of my decision to make it the law of my life. I know that by action of this affirmative prayer, I see the truth clearly, accept it fully, and put it to work for me rightly. So I now go on with my daily business knowing that it is already at work in my life, and I confidently let it be so, and so it is.
No! Sometimes no is the most freeing word you can ever say. So many people in our world live their lives just like I demonstrated. Terrified, hiding, moving very slowly and cautiously into every step of life, making double sure they're not being attacked, or there's not danger, or there's not something terrible about to happen to them. So many people live half awake, constantly looking for danger. Many people have been programmed to believe that life is against them, and the world is a very dangerous place. We're programmed by how we're treated. We're programmed by what people say to us. We're programmed by what is done in our world around us when we start out in life, especially in those early years when we're so impressionable. We're programmed by the messages we receive about who we are, about our gender, about our race, about our ethnicity, about our sexual preferences, about who we love and how we love. Because those messages that come at us will have a lot to do with that later programming and how we move through the world. Not only at that time, but right on down through time. You may have been treated in a way that taught you that the world's a dangerous place. You may have had experiences that said that up until a point in your life. You may feel trapped and bound by those. Psychologists have told us for years that when the things come up in our minds that seem to interfere with our choices for life, it's all coming out of our subconscious mind, and it was programmed and put there by usually our mothers, but not always, by those people, whoever they are, and that we have little control over it. That was the old psychology. Psychologists today know that we have huge control over those messages because we have the power to put new ones in its place. But I'm getting ahead of myself. And seeing whether those messages in you or in people you know, this might be about people you know, came from outright abuse, or those messages came from just subtle treatment, the way you were handled as a child, the way you were spoken to, the way people look when you walk through a room or walk into a room, the greeting you get, the fear that pops up in people's eyes when they see you, or the joy that pops up in their eyes when they see you. Whichever way that goes, those messages begin to be hammered in and accepted. Listen to what the textbook says. To suppose that the creative intelligence of the universe could create man, woman, humanity in bondage and leave them bound would be to dishonor the creative power, which we call God. To suppose that God would make men and women or women as individual without leaving them to discover themselves would be to suppose an impossibility. Individuality must be spontaneous. It can never be automatic. The seed of freedom must be planted in the innermost being of humanity. But, like the prodigal son, man must make the great discovery for himself. The truth points to freedom under law. Thus, the inherent nature of each of us is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. We do well to listen to the inner voice, for it tells us of a life wonderful in its scope, of a love beyond our fondest dreams, and of a freedom which the soul craves, or of each, or both. So many folks want, and thank you for your story. Oh my gosh, I so valued and appreciated that, because for so many of us, when we got into this teaching, we did not, like you say, come dancing in here on top of the world. Most of us came walking in here dragging all kinds of stuff with us and barely making it for some of us. So the fact is that all of that baggage and all of those messages and all of those things that pile on top of us can be lifted, can be shifted, can be changed. And we can come to a better place, a better way of living, a better way of being for ourselves. My little example came from a play I saw here in Atlanta, maybe many years ago. I don't know exactly when. A group, theater group from the penitentiary in Indiana was traveling the country. They were all out on furloughs to do this. They had created, using psychodrama, they had created a drama about their own experiences as a way to heal and to move past them, to move on. And for 45 minutes, we watched as a group of men, and they were all men, a group of men pantomimed in super slow motion, far better than I did, acting out the pain and the hurt and the messages that they had been impressed with and treated with as children and as young adults. They pantomimed abuses, they pantomime being snubbed, they pantomime being mistreated in all kinds of ways. Not a sound in the room, not a sound in the auditorium, and no music. Just pantomime with a slowly strobing light. It went on and on and on. And by the time it got to the 45-minute mark, you could not breathe in the room hardly for the intensity and tension of it. And then the lead character suddenly turned to the person doing harm to him, put his hand up, and screamed at the top of his lungs, "No." Most of us in the audience burst into tears because almost everybody in the audience had identified with some part of the person's pain, even if it was very small, others very large. And what we identified most with was the power of saying no. No. Not going to be treated that way. Not going to live that way anymore. Not going to think that way anymore. No. See, the first step to healing is often saying no. The first step to spiritual mind treatment and changing your life. Beautiful treatment. In the beginning of that, there's a no. There's a no that says, I'm not going to be living this way anymore. I'm not going to be loveless anymore. I'm not going to not love myself more and more every day. That no is in there to put a stop. It's the first step. It says, end it here. It's a spiritual step. It's necessary. Deny before you treat. Holmes says this off and on throughout the textbook and through his other writings. See, no is also a complete sentence. I learned that a few years ago. You don't have to explain anything. No is a complete sentence. My father told me that. I didn't believe him at the time. His version of it was a little different than what I think of, but it was no. And if you tried to get an explanation or some other words in that sentence, you got to look. And the look was enough to stop you right there, right? You've probably done it as well as received it. So no is a complete sentence. And it's a powerful sentence. What do you need to say no to? What's going on in your life that you say no to? Maybe it's simply as simple as I need to say no to putting myself down. I need to say no to thinking I'm powerless. I need to say no to thinking I'm old. I have to work with that one sometimes. Even though I'm absolutely certain it's not true. It still pops up in your mind. Maybe you have to say no to something going on in your life. Maybe you have to say no to a job that just does not serve you anymore. And you haven't been really clear about that, or a relationship, or something else that really needs that kind of clarity in your thinking. I'm done with being defined by my limitations. I'm done with being defined by my diseases. Say no to that one. Have you ever been to the table with a bunch of folks doing the organ recital? My liver. Oh yeah, but my lungs. Oh yeah, but. You know, and it's almost at a certain point, sometimes people find that as a way to relate to one another. No. Say no. Do something different. Say no to any idea that denies your power, your truth, your love, your freedom, and your goodness. Any of it, whether it's coming from somebody else or in your own head. And you don't always have to say no out loud, although sometimes it's fun. But you need to say it inside if it's stuck like that. See, here's the deal. The universe abhors vacuum. We say that all the time. So you can't just wipe something out and leave it in space. Because you and I both know what happens when that fills in, right? If you're not in charge of what's being filled in, you may get another whole pile of that other stuff. All those other messages about what's wrong. Instead, what we do is we take charge of filling in the vacuum when we say no to these ideas by putting other better ideas in its place. by choosing to say yes. See, that spiritual law, natural law, always says yes. We teach that all the time. That when you declare a truth for yourself, the universe says, yes, I am fabulous. I am wealthy. I am prospering. I am loved. Yes, 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 yes. I am screwed up. Yes. No. But it will reflect that back to you as long as you keep saying it and believing it. So what we do is, we live in this universe that always says yes to us and supports us, and we live in a world that mostly says no to us until we learn to use and work with that universe. See, the world is the outside picture. The universe is the inside picture. And the inside picture controls the outside picture. So as we change our thinking, as we fill in, we let go of and decide what we are not and do not want to be, we fill that in with the yes, this is who I am and what I'm going to be and what I continue to be, then the outside world has to respond to that. But until we take charge of that world will probably quite often say no. I mean, it doesn't let me play by my rules all the time, especially with taxes and things like that are concerned. No, we have to play by the rules. So we fill in the yeses. Say yes, that you are valuable and worthy. Say yes. Do you have a right to take up space in the world? Breathe air. You have a right to your full supply of it for as long as you want it. Say yes. Say yes that you have a right to live, to love, and to be free. Say yes that say yes to other people by looking through them, looking through their pain and their hurt, looking past those things that they do that might have been hurtful to you or might be hurtful to you. Say yes by looking through them to the truth of them, which is that inner spirit, that inner being. Say yes to see beyond their pain and their behavior. Doesn't mean you're going to allow that pain behavior to be splattered all over you all the time, but it does mean that you don't have to react to it or respond to it because you know it's not the truth of them. And you love yourself enough not to participate in that stuff. Right? Say yes to adventure. Say yes to something new. Say yes to something boring if that's what you want. And non-adventure. You know, some people really want the status quo. Good for you. I can't imagine. Good for you. If that's what you're about. But if you're about adventure, if you're about growth, if you're about going forward, say yes to that. Instead of saying, you know, I wish I could. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. But, you know, this is where I came from. This is what I'm made of. This is what people think of me. And this is my blah, 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 blah. Say no to that stuff and say yes to yes, but my possibilities are endless. Endless and open. See, the freedom here is to shout and to sing. This is the freedom we're shouting about and singing about all this week. It's 4th of July. Everybody's like, yay, Ron. People think they're shouting and singing about a political system or a revolution that happened at some point or hot dogs and beer. But whatever, all of that's the external, the inside part, the truth that we're really celebrating this week at the 4th of July and all similar celebrations is that there is freedom within us that is innate, that is our natural quality. Freedom is innate, is in the nature of life, so it is in our nature. Freedom is not something that's imposed, something you have to earn, something you have to go and get. It's something that's inside of you that's just pushing you out, pushing to be expressed. And you cannot keep it down. Anybody been around any 2-year-olds lately? You cannot get that freedom out of them. Put them in a box, close them up, and they'll find some way to get creative and find something to do to entertain themselves. Now, of course, you have to not put them in a box to do that. However, to prove it, I have an 8-year-old granddaughter. She wrote the book on freedom. We're all learning from her. Well, why can't I wear my Cinderella dress every day to school? Is there a rule? Well, no, there's not. Okay. So now she has 6 Cinderella dresses she wears to school. Although she's graduating past those now, she's doing some other teenage kind of clothes. And, but it's all about the freedom to choose and the freedom to do it and the freedom to know what she wants and to go after it. You can't squelch your freedom. You can try. It's like trying to squelch love. You can try to squelch it and squeeze it. You can really convince yourself it's not there, but it will push its way out if it's nothing more than the love of breathing air and being alive. It's you. It's who you are. It's what you're made of. Which is why we get so uncomfortable when things happen that seem to pull away from our freedom or stop our freedom or say no to our freedom. Because innately we know that's not natural. Unnatural to be told you're not free, to be treated as if you're not free. We'll find expression no matter what. So no matter what appears to be the bondage, or appears to be holding everything back, there is something in you that naturally pushes past it and goes forward. Even the most, this is not a happy example, but even the most depressed, hopeless person will express their freedom by taking their own life or trying to. If they can't see any other place, I've worked a lot in psychology, worked as a therapist, all that stuff. But what I saw again and again was when people got to that point is because they couldn't find any other way to express life or express their freedom except having the choice to do that. Because they couldn't see any other choices. We will find a way to express our freedom, even if it's self-destructive, and to express our choice and our opportunity. I'm encouraging us to this teaching to make better choices about that. And to get it, that we can choose differently, no matter what your situation is. I love the idea in pushing against the boundaries, the Hoover Dam out of holding back Lake Page in Arizona is eating its way through the rock all around the dam. The water is eating its way through the rock around the dam. And there's now a movement to take the dam down before it falls down and floods all of the rest of the Grand Canyon, etc. Even though it would be a short flash flood, there's a lot of volume of water backed up behind that. But it's pushing its way through. It's popping out all over the place, up and down the canyon, and getting more stronger and stronger all the time. You can't hold back the freedom of water to flow. You can't hold back your freedom to live a rich, full, abundant life. You cannot, or a free life, or a life of love and joy and ease. Nobody else can, and you can't either. It's going to keep going. So then our issue becomes balance. Keeping a balance between our yeses and our nos. Some folks have been pushed on so much that no is about all they know how to say. You know those folks. The terrible twos are like that. No, no, no. You want candy? No. Oh, well, maybe. Yeah, all no goes. Because what's happening there is the little human is learning how to say no so they can say yes. If you're not free to say no, you're not free to say yes. So some people, though, in order to get through that, get really hung up on the no side of things and say no to everything. Even things they might wish they hadn't, or they'll try to find a way yet to come back around. Because they don't believe that the no's that they do say have the power to really manage things for them. That they don't believe there's a spiritual and personal power behind their no that will allow them to just say no. Calmly, easily, and freely, and say it once. And give a look at it. And the flip side of that is some people say yes to everything. Beat me up, yes. I don't want to go, but I'll go. Yes. Wherever you want to go eat, yes. Treat me how I'm going to, yes. I know you mean well, yes. And those yeses are coming out of that internal belief that our right to freedom of choice is not strong enough to support us if we stand in it. That somehow we'll lose so much in saying no, we're not going to do that. We'll stay in yes. And maybe we'll take the good and let the rest go if we can. If we figure out a way to do it, we don't get beat up first or hurt too much. And people walk down both sides of that. We are constantly through our lives balancing yes and no. The great teacher Jesus said, don't fuss and cuss and swear. He wasn't talking about using cuss words. He was talking about backing up what you say with some kind of big, elaborate swearing thing. What you need simply do is say yes and no. Yes, I'll do this. No, I don't. Yes, I believe this. No, I don't. And standing behind it calmly, freely. Not, well, yes, but I just blah. No. That gets us in trouble every time because it opens the door for us not to be true to ourselves, not to stand strong, not to be true. So the truth is, we are born free. You're not born to be free, you are free. You're born because freedom is what you're made of, it's your stuff. You're free, and you get to have that experience of freedom. You get to look for its opportunity to express itself. You're a particular individual version of it. I went to a ball game this week with my sister, and her grandson was playing in one of the tournaments that go on. They're like 350-something baseball teams in town, all high school, whatever. And they were having so much fun out there playing. And the parents were in the stands, and they were having so much fun there. And I was enjoying watching him. And I was also thinking, man, I wish I was in a nice air-conditioned spot. There was no freedom in that for me, other than the opportunity to love on them a little bit. I'm glad I did that. I'll do it again before the week's out. But I'm very clear that my balance of yes and no is a loss there. Because no is, I don't do baseball. But I do grandnephews. So it's all good. It's all right. It's all good. But we have to constantly make those decisions. So here's the kicker. The more you embrace your freedom and really embrace it and really see where you are with it, the more you give away and allow other people to do the same thing. Because if you're embracing your freedom, you're embracing freedom for everyone. We are one. One of my old teachers used to say, how many people are in the room? One. So if I'm embracing this for me, I'm embracing it for you and everyone else. I'm bringing greater freedom of expression into the world every time I express greater freedom for myself. I'm doing that for me, I'm doing that for you, I'm doing that for you. And I'll close with one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's an old movie. I'm grateful to have been around the planet long enough to have enjoyed it when it was fairly new. And it's a story of an amazing woman who lived in New York City, and she went through ups and downs through her entire life. She said things like, life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death. She said she danced, she sang. It's the Rosalind Russell version of MAME. If you've never seen it, go see it. Youngsters may not have heard of it. If you haven't, talk to me. You need to see this movie. It's a science of mind movie. It's a movie that talks about possibilities. And there's a point in the movie where everything is falling apart. Her big fancy apartment in New York is about to be lost. Her maid cashes in her savings account to buy the Christmas turkey because they're all starving. It's this poor little puny starving little turkey. And they're just about to sit down to eat it. And very sad, very somber, everybody's crying. And it's knocked at the door, and here's a guy that's, sorry about the sexist part of this. Here's a guy knocking on the door saying, we met at the store, and I'd like to take you to Christmas dinner. And off they go. And his maid tears out the door. She gets the top of the Christmas tree and sticks it in her hair and says, life is good. Live, live, live. That's the opposite of where we started. We don't have to hide. We don't have to be quiet. We just get to live, live, live. And we do that because we can. We do that because you're wonderful, and so am I, and so it is. All right. So go from here and go out and enjoy your celebration of the holiday. But first, we're going to take a few minutes and just be quiet and take some ideas. These ideas that we've got that talked about, we thought about. Soak in, see what part of them really apply to you and what don't. Take a nice deep breath and ask that wisdom within you. What is important for me to know from this time today? What is there for me to glean from wisdom, power, life within me? And as I recognize what that is, I stand in the truth. With the one power there is, the one consciousness there is, the one reality there is in which I live and move and breathe, is now established this in my life as my life. Nothing is stopped, nothing is held back. It's all good and good. And I go from this place celebrating my freedom, recognizing it at every turn, and knowing by just seeing it, it multiplies. Knowing that that's so, I release this with joy and freedom. I let it be, and so it is. All right. So, almost parade time. So, let's join together. This is a time where we share back and forth. We give. You've given, received. I've given, received. There's a flow, there's a circulation going on here. So the opportunity is to support that, support the center, support our freedom to be here, support our ability to be here in this beautiful, wonderful space by continuing to contribute. It also supports your prosperity if you give to those things you care about. It's not just about us, it's about you. So there's no way to break it apart. It's all one thing. So as we go into our time together for celebrating the offering and we're going to use it, join me if you will in the affirmation. You'll find it in your program. So we read together. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully live, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share in my life returns to me, multiplied and so it is.